everyone, Domino Jack here, and yes, this is a Path of Exile 1 video. Most of my content I normally do is Binding of Isaac. So you might be a little bit surprised to see me doing a Path of Exile 1 video. However, for those who have known my content before Binding of Isaac, I have been a Path of Exile creator, and I actually did a lot of TikToks for Path of Exile, and especially about like helping people getting into Path of Exile. I've started playing Path of Exile again, and I guess this is kind of my first video back after my break because I started playing with the newest Path of Exile League, which, as you can see, is Secrets of the Atlas, or also known as like Mercenaries League. And pretty much what I just want to talk about today, this is really loose, by the way. This video is going to be super loose, not very super heavy edited, and it's going to be really casual. I pretty much just want to talk about getting into Path of Exile. Path of Exile is a really, really complex game, and a lot of people find it really, really confusing and really challenging, and it's not the easiest game. But with Path of Exile 2 having come out, which Path of Exile 2, I believe at the time of recording this, is still in beta, you know, people kind of might be interested in Path of Exile 1. And I don't think Path of Exile 1 is really, really really easy to get into. So this is my current character, and a lot of people, you know, feel really overwhelmed by this thing, which is your skill tree, your passive skill tree. And then later on in the game, you have what's called your Atlas tree. So there's a lot of trees that you have. So I want to sort of talk about, I guess, if you're first getting into the game, maybe just, I guess, some tips and tricks to try help you out. Also, try not to let the skill tree overwhelm you, because as you see here, I'm barely using like majority of it. Like there is so much tree over here I ain't using. But the way you should think about the tree is that you can go almost anywhere, which is kind of cool. But where you start matters, and different characters start in different spots. One of the first things I want to talk about is when you're playing Path of Exile. I'm playing on Steam, by the way, as well, on a PC. I have reached my maximum number of characters. That is hilarious. Oh, you see it also says Mercenaries here. So let's go show all. I am going to have to get rid of a character. The first thing is when you come to Path of Exile, if you're on Steam, so as I come through Steam, so I have to press in login first. You'll notice also it says, you know, my location, my gateway. Also, I want to point out in this tiny little corner down here, I might try to see if I can zoom in here. This is the league number. You'll notice it says PoE 3.26. So that's our league number, 3.26. That's going to be important when you're looking at build guides and stuff. But when you go to login, you probably won't have any characters for the league. You might if you've played standard. All your characters, by the way, go to standard after the league as well, I should point out. But if we go to Mercenaries, we'll just say there's nothing here. So we're going to create a character. This is what you'll come to first. So standard is like the standard game mode sort of thing. There's no leagues with this. This is just the default game. It even says the default game mode. And you can do a hardcore, solo, self-found, and you can do ruthless. This here, these are the current leagues, which is Mercenaries. So you have normal Mercenaries. If you just click Mercenaries, don't click anything else and just press OK. That is like going into what most people would call the trade league. And that's normally what I do. Just going into that. You'll then see there's solo, self-found, and ruthless. Solo self-found is you can't trade with anyone. You can't do party play with other people. That's just you. You are by yourself. You are solo. But if you start out as this and you decide you want to come over to the normal trade league and party up with people and that, you can migrate that character over. Ruthless is the game, just a lot harder. I've never played this. I've never bothered playing this. Honestly, I'm fine. The game is difficult enough as it is. I don't need it to be harder. Hardcore is pretty much like hardcore in other games. You die, you die. And then again, you can do it as solo self-found, and you can do it as ruthless as well. I never really bother with hardcore either. I die a stupid amount in the game. I am totally fine. My character dies over and over. I'm not here to play super hardcore. I'm here to be a casual gamer. So I normally would just pick the current league. I don't click anything, and then I just press OK. The next thing is it's going to tell you, ask you which character you want to pick. And if you click on them, it will go through the characters. So you have the Templar here, for example, and you can just press back and go through them. This character here in the middle is the Scion. If you are new to the game, this character won't have been unlocked yet. You'll unlock the Scion through the campaign. Also, you can just click on them like that. The thing is, unlike other games, you may want to just sort of jump in and pick a character, but I highly recommend you actually find what is called a build guide before you do so, because the build guide is going to tell you which character to pick. When you want to try find a build guide, there's a couple of ways you can do it. So you could literally just go to Google and go Path of Exile build guide. And my suggestion would be to put in the league number of what we're currently in, which is that 3.26 that I mentioned, which is the current league. If you're watching this video in another league, just check. We may not be in 3.26 anymore. And you can totally just go through and see what's available on Google. You can also go onto YouTube. Path of Exile build guide 3.26. And yes, I was looking at Warhammer lore. And you can see what people are doing as build guides and stuff. There are also websites you can specifically go to. One I like is poe-vault.com. This has a bunch of guides for Path of Exile, and you'll notice it says 3.26 there, again, with the league run. Maxroll also has guides. So with Maxroll, we need to make sure we go to the right guide. So there's Path of Exile 2. We want Path of Exile 1. And then also Maxroll has a lot of other helpful things as well on it, like about getting started and stuff. But you might want to go to build guides. And you'll see there's a bunch of guides. Now, both PoE Vault and Maxroll do something that I really like, which is where you can sort of pick what sort of playstyle you want. So if you're like really into minions or range sort of things, if you want something for what's called mapping, mapping is an endgame mechanic, or you want something that's really good at bossing, it's really helpful. They have up here like league starters and things like that. This one, if I go to all builds, you can do the same here as well. There we go. If I go build, so I can do like beginners, like builds that are helpful. Oh, this is beginner guides, actually. This is beginner guides. But I could go to... Oh, wait, I'm probably looking for this one. League starter. We'll turn back to all categories, but the tags. If I go league starter, for example, you have a bunch of guides here as well. Now, I'm just going to, as an example, use a volcanic fissure of snaking, just because this is what I did this guide build, and I actually knew what I wanted to play for this league. So something that I like about Maxroll is when you go to your guide is, and this one's by Crouching Tuna, which is really, really good as well. Crouching Tuna has done a really good guide here. It gives you some info about the build, some overview. You'll have a lot of information in here. By the way, if you do not enjoy reading, good luck, because there's a lot of reading in Path of Exile. So something I like about Maxroll is you can go to leveling and you can see exactly where to put your skill points as you level up and what gems you need to put into gear. Now, the reason I say to get a build guide is because then the build guide tells you which character you are taking. So for this one, we're going to end up being the Berserker. That means we're starting as a Marauder. Now, oh yeah, progression is really important as well, by the way, because it tells you early game, mid game, end game, how to do it and everything. So one of the big things with build guides is while you can use like sites and stuff like this, there's probably a volcanic. Let's see if there's a volcanic fissure on here. Volcanic. Did anyone else do a volcanic fissure on here? Let's have a look. Guides. Okay, not this year. Just go to builds. Let's just pick a necromancer guide. You'll see that PoE Vault also has a heap of information. It'll tell you how to do your gears, your jewels, all that sort of stuff. So both of these sites provide a lot of information. The thing though that I like to do is I like to go down to these things here, which are called POBs or Path of Buildings. So what these are, these links that you find here, POB, if you follow or watch any other content creators for Path of Exile as well, a lot of the times they'll provide what's called their POB or their POB link, so their Path of Building. That is actually a program called Path of Building. So you want to actually get, I know you're gonna have a program to play your game. So you'll see they have one for Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile. This is really handy, and what you can do is you can take those links and look at everything in a greater detail. So if I copy that link, when we first open Path of Building, this is what it looks like. It's got nothing in it, but you can see this is the skill tree, but there's nothing selected. So if you import, export, or build, you'll see it's got my stuff up there. I can enter that URL that we copied. It'll let me know whether it's valid or not, and we go import. And it will fill everything in. Now, it's filled all the information on the side. You can see stuff is being selected. And one of the best things, oh, it's under my little avatar down here. Can I sort of lean? But you can see down here in the bottom corner, you can actually change what level the tree is at. That's if someone set it up like this. I'll point out, not everyone sets their stuff up like this. This is honestly why I like Crouching Tuner's guides, is because they often set the things up like this. But this will help you to figure out kind of like where to go and how things can progress. Up here, you'll notice you have things like skills, items. So items, you'll notice leveling gear, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once he gets into mapping, which is an endgame mechanic, red maps, and then it keeps going. Same with skills. We'll see level 1 to 12. And now the thing with skills is you do want to click through these so you can see what skills have been chosen and done as well. And if we go further, for example, when you get to something like this, you can see that there's multiple things, sort of skills being used. So this is why I think a Path of Building, like this program, is really helpful. Also, the thing that I find super helpful is up here, it tells us exactly what we're choosing. Marauder and Berserker. This is how I often am like, oh, what am I choosing? Oh, Marauder, Berserker. And I'll often have a program like this program open when I'm running from the beginning, like doing like my campaign and that. Also, I always use build guides. So don't feel bad if you're like, oh, I feel weird because I'm just want to play the game, but I have to follow someone else's guide. Honestly, that's just the way to play Path of Exile. So yeah, so once you know that this is what you want, you can type in your character's name and you'll start the game. And then you pretty much just go through and do campaign. I'm just going to go into my own volcanic fissure at the moment. So there is a campaign that you can run through. It's in 2 parts. You've got part 1, which goes all the way to Act 5, and part 2 goes all the way to End 2. And then you have the epilogue, the Atlas of Worlds. So getting through the whole campaign's actually not too difficult, because when you talk to people in town and things, they will tell you where to go and sort of explain things. Like, you kind of get told where to go. You also don't have to do everything. You have to do all the stuff that matters. Some stuff you can, like, I seriously haven't finished this thing. So the campaign, you kind of want to just go through the whole of that. And following the build guide should get you through all the way to the Act 10. And then once you're after Act 10 and you're doing what's called the Atlas, it can be a little bit complicated after that. And I might do a video talking about Endgame after. For now, it's just about like getting through the first 10 acts. Another thing I want to talk about is a filter. So if you go to filterblade.xyz, or you can probably type into Google XYZ filter sort of thing, you can create filters here. So I'll go create a new filter for now. If you don't have any filters, you won't have to do that. It just come to this page. I'm also logged in on this, which means it syncs my filter to my game, which again, you don't have to do. But a filter helps sort of, as it says, filter things out in the game that aren't necessary. So you can start with, it tells you as well, super low strictness, regular, semi-strict, and you can keep going all the way up until, you know, there's certain things that you're just like, I don't care about seeing them anymore. There is a point where there is a lot of loot that drops in Path of Exile. And so you need to start getting filters. You can also customize them as well. This gets a little bit complex. And then with exporting to PoE, you have a choice. If you are like connected, you can like sync it to your Path of Exile, or you can download it and you can actually just put it in the folder. So if you press escape and go options, go to your game. This is your item filter here. You'll see mine is the breach gold because it's been synced. But if you click this, it'll open your filter file folder. I'm not going to open it because it'll obviously open up a folder on my computer. But that is where you want to put the file you had downloaded from Filter Blade. So you'll download the file if you're not syncing it to your game. If you're syncing it to your game, it's fine. If not, you're going to download it and you're going to put it in this folder. And then you can choose between them here. So I will show you an example. So we'll go into a map just so you can kind of see what I'll do. So it's on my filter that I've got at the moment, which I've called Breach Gold. And I'll do a little bit so you can sort of see what's happening, but then also you can see how the filter changes. And also, if you feel like there's not a lot of stuff dropping on the floor, maybe change your filter. You can see there's items now dropping on the floor. I'll change it once I'm certain I am not going to die. Oh. And yes, this is the volcanic fissure of snaking. And I followed Crashing Tuna's guides. All right, so if we go options and I change it to something like that, that is how much loot is actually on the ground. There's all this other stuff that my new filter, and as you go up through the filters that I've got, certain things stop showing and showing. This was my League start. That's what I started with on League, because when you're starting the game, you kind of want a lot of things obviously being shown. But when you get to end game, you don't want as much. Do not get a filter this strict for the starting. If you're starting out, I would probably just go a regular filter. Regular is going to be fine. You know, it's a little bit strict, but it's not too much. Soft is probably way too much. So yeah, just start with a regular filter. And obviously you'll notice as well, softcore. So softcore, which is what I call Trade League, but softcore, there's hardcore. There's one for ruthless and things like that. So you're just going to take this one. So a filter is going to be really helpful for you as well. So if you have any questions about Path of Exile and Path of Exile 1 and getting into the game, feel free to put them in the chat below. Also, I am looking at streaming some Path of Exile again. I'm not too sure exactly when it would be, but obviously feel free to follow the YouTube channel. I stream here on YouTube and over on Twitch as well. Also, there's a Discord community that you can come and join as well. But yeah, if you have any questions about Path of Exile 1, there's so many guides and things online as well. So like, honestly, there's so much information out there and the game is complicated, but definitely just, you know, watch the guides, read stuff. You'll get there in the end. And hopefully, you know, I'll be able to do some stuff to, I guess, some guides to sort of help people out. Oh, one thing I did forget about talking about is if you are new to the game, just getting to a place where it's safe. I am causing more things to wake up. You'll notice in my inventory, this is how your skills work. Your skills are these gems that you like socket into gear. And that is what I was showing in the Path of Building, was when it was talking about, if I go to skills, for example, if we look at this, I put this over here. So the volcanic fissure of snaking, for example, is that gem that I've got there, volcanic fissure of snaking. And you can see here, it's looking like that because I've just pulled it to the side. If we pull it back over, it's over. So just so we can see our screen, you'll see that it's showing all the other gems that it wants you to have in with the volcanic fissure of snaking. Mine's a little bit different now because I've gone a little bit further, but I've taken things a little bit further and I've added some extra stuff. But this will show you, and you'll notice as well, there's little icons like that shows to put it into your body. This one shows putting it in your helmet, gloves, for example. You don't have to follow this exactly unless there is something about the item that you're using that affects your gems. And that can happen. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to finish this map quickly. Now my character is missing a belt because I actually take my mage blood from my other character and put it on this character when I want to play it. So you'll notice this gear is very specific. It says a couple of things. The first thing at the top there in blue, the first line in blue says +2 to level of socketed trap or mine gems. So if you have a trap skill in there, so this is Ash Trap, which is a trap, it is giving it +2. You'll notice it's also getting +4, +3. Like there's all these other plus levels on there. But the first thing is that's going to affect my gem. The next thing you'll notice is this is very specific. It says gems can be socketed in this item ignoring socket colors. And normally that's not the case. Red gems have to go in the red sockets, green in green, and blue, and so forth. There are white sockets, which can take any color and things as well. That's going down a whole nother road though. So, but you'll notice that this talks about how the different colors affect the gems in certain ways. So gems in the red socket have another +2 level. Green sockets have +30 quality. Blue sockets get 100% increased experience. So you notice we also don't have any blue gems because, blue sockets because we only want the green and the red thing in this one. So that is something to sort of just like point out is that specific gear, like you might want to put specific gems in specific gear. When you're looking at your build guide, just take note of what gear it's telling you to put the items in because there's a chance that actually might affect it. And also when you're looking at your skills, you'll notice it's got the leveling again. So when you're looking at your skills and items, you might want to make sure that you're on the same sort of thing in case things kind of match over. So this says endgame mage blood. This also says endgame mage blood. So the helmet, for example, is this Echoes of Creation that they've got, and it talks about Warcry skills and stuff like that. And then so you might want to look at having certain skills in there. This one I don't think matters too much. I don't think there's anything specific. There is stuff later where certain things, but yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to make a point about that is just take note of things like that. But yeah, I hope this has helped some people. Path of Exile 1, as I said, is complex and can get really confusing. But just take time with it. It's a really fun game, especially once you get to the end game. Also, there is a lot to the end game, and maybe I'll do a whole video about that if people are interested. But yeah, just remember, like, once you've gone through the campaign, which is all the way up to Act 10, there is so much in the end part of the game. And that's where a lot of the fun is. A lot of the fun is the end of the game. You just kind of want to get through the campaign first. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know. And if people like these Path of Exile videos on YouTube, I'll try to do some more of them. But I'd also like to point out, I don't know a huge amount of Path of Exile. I'm still very much learning. I only have 1,600 hours in the game. So I'm still really a baby in the game compared to a lot of other people that have been playing for years. I've only been playing for a little bit. But yeah, I'm definitely learning and hopefully I can help some other people learn more about the game as well. Thanks everyone. Have a great day. Bye.